You have anything from Zeb? He usually texts me.
I thought he was going to be here.
Yeah, as far as I remember, he usually lets me know if he's running a little break. He should be here.
Mr. Mayor, he said he's coming. I think he had a hotel room.
Yeah, he usually comes down. We'll go ahead and get started. I'm sure he'll be here shortly. Meeting will now come to order. First item on the agenda is the agenda. If there are no changes and there are no objections, then the agenda will stand approved as presented. Previous minutes that were sent the other day. Are there any changes, updates to those? If not, there are no objections. They will stand approved as presented. And just want to congratulate our All-American City Mayor.
Thank you.
For the third year.
2010, 2018, and 2023.
Only city in South Carolina.
Yep.
So that's awesome, Mayor.
Mm-hmm.
We're proud to be a part of it.
Thank you.
Committee reports. Susan?
Good morning. We had a really great meeting yesterday. Allison and the museum team, the education people are doing an incredible job. So I'm going to try to be quick but it's a lot. So Meredith reported to us that the first draft of the new master plan, which will unify the signage, the exhibits, and just bring everything together, the first draft has been accomplished. The Laffey Gallery, has been completed. That was a project to update that, and as well as updating the ship store on the Laffey, and their 80th is coming up next year, and so there's been a lot of progress made towards getting all that done for those people. And in August through December of this year, they've gone through the photographs and the archives, and I think it's called Me Men Will Always Be There.
The men will always be there, yes.
The what kind?
The men will always be
The
there.
men.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Oh, it does say these, sorry. The men will always be there, and it's a World War II photos of exhibit. The famous photographer Steichen contributed a lot to that, and like I said, that's August through December, and where the uniform display has been. As far as the budget goes, everything is just really, really admirable, the way they have constructed their budget and the goals and the accomplishments, and just the working together of the different groups that will be working on that plan. Part of that plan will be to be creating the new Clamagore exhibit, and it will be interactive for kids and have sort of a STEM type focus with things like water volume or measuring water, or how the submarine went up and down and those kinds of things. And the part of the plan is to wrap the wall in the gallery where it goes, so that it has the feeling of being inside that submarine. And they have they took a 360-degree video, 3D video, before the Laffey was taken apart, that will be utilized in that, as well as online and a lot of other places. The budget mainly consists of maintenance and care, and a lot of new cases, and they're going to be visiting a lot of ships. They're going to be, they put as a priority in the budget to get out and see other places and bring back things and connect and just do all of that networking things that we've never really kind of been able to get to before. And so, Meredith, is that it?
Yes.
It was so much, I don't know if I already
That's a lot.
did.
I think it was the Clamagore that we did the 3D.
What did I say?
You said laughing, but
Laughing.
yeah.
Clamagore, sorry. The new,
You
that's
got
what
my
it
hopes
said.
up.
That is what it says, look.
We will do the laughing.
There you go. Then Keith has some really exciting news that I think y'all are going to hear a lot about next month with the Flight Academy, and it is the people in Columbia and the EIA are really going to be very happy with what the expansion that he's going to do. I mean, he is going to stretch that dime so far you can't even believe it. You know we got the carryover EIA money, and Barbara Harefield here who is vice chairman of the EOC, was here for his teacher training this week, and her question to me was, why don't y'all ask for more? So I think that was a good report card for that. They are now, Aaron, who was working with Keith, who's just another genius, is looking at new simulators for the Flight Academy. And like I said, at our July meeting, there'll be a proposal for the Flight Academy that will be ready for our approval. They'll have the draft drawings and all that. 90 teachers attended the teacher conference this past week. Charleston County representatives were there, EOC was there, State Department people were there, and it was a huge success, as always. And he has, I think one of the teachers is back for her 11th time or 10th? 11th.
Every single one.
Every single one, and then he had several that have come 8 or 9 times. So that's another great indicator. Right now, the 6 weeks will be coming up for summer camp. It will start next week. It was full. It was posted at the town, full, and has a huge waiting list. And they'll be having 30 students each week, or student kids, that and it's apparently going to just be a huge hit. In the education budget, he still needs one full-time equivalent for the Flight Academy, and that's being posted. And I can't even explain this because it's too hard for me, but they've got this. They've come up with this barcode system that will replace books and evaluative materials, QR codes, and anyway, so part of this rebanding and the consolidation of the exhibits on the ship will go into the barcode and QR code arena of put your iPhone up there and and go kind of thing. So and they talk like that's nothing, so I don't believe them. The kiosks that are near the plane are going to be upgraded, and so one of the things too is all of the technology here with this focus, this existing, the speakers, the the sound, the lights, all of the things in the public spaces are going to be redone, fixed, or whatever it takes to get them up to par.
Good.
So that's going to be one of the starting points. And the summer camp's totally sold out. 180 are coming, and it costs $250 a week for 9 to 2 p.m. So that's exciting. Anything else, Keith?
Sounds good.
Were you awake?
Any questions of Susan?
Very excited.
If not, thank you, Susan. Development committee, much like Susan's committee, had a lot of information yesterday, mostly about budget, but they talked about a number of initiatives that are underway or about to be. And since I don't take notes like Susan does, I asked Chris to do it. So Chris is going to give you some of the highlights, okay?
Good morning, and thank you for a chance to talk about all the cool things we're doing. You heard the first half of the visitor and community engagement team. The second half is marketing and visitor services, and one of the really neat things that we've launched in the last month, and I see Chauncey and Executive Director Megan Silsby over there, is we continued our program and our partnership with Bulldog Tours to launch an audio tour in the past month. So if you remember years ago, we had one. Those devices were really a pain in the neck, and people would walk off and be really obnoxious noise, and people would forget to return them. But now it's all app-based. We get data coming back to us. We can build on it. We've started with the Yorktown. The Laffy is next, and the Vietnam experience. We can do different languages. Opens up a whole world to us. But that has launched, and also we've increased ghost tours. We've added another ghost tour to what's available for people to purchase and do. And relaunched investigations, or relaunched the program. We haven't had any investigations back on the Yorktown for ghosts, but we found a nice, safe area. Time's up already? So anyway, we've got ghost tours, we've got investigations coming back. Marketing has kicked off the website project. You've heard me talk about for 2 or 3 years now. The fiscal year 22 or 23 was spent just procuring a company. It takes that long sometimes. And we have one, we've had our first meeting, and so we look forward to completely redoing that website. It'll always be, you know, a vehicle for us to sell tickets, but also for hosting the collections catalog and being able to, you know, invite people that are maybe in college or high school to do research on our site and learn more about what we do. And then all of our other departments will be supported through that website. But it'll be, you know, a 9-month-ish project, and it probably really won't ever end because we'll always be updating it. But there's a good chance to get everything involved and launch into the world of selling certain items on our website, whether it's Yorktown or Laffy shirts and coins and those kind of things. It'll be our first step to that direction that we know inevitably will be coming much more than that. The marketing plan, we proposed our budget yesterday, and you know, with the board's approval, we'll move towards putting a whole plan together that Eric's team will present, so you can see where each dollar is going with that department within the next few months. Unfortunately, I have to announce that our public information officer, Mary Edwards, you might have saw it in your division reports, she's leaving to go to Kentucky, so we'll be missing Mary and working to rehire her position, but also as Eric came in, redeveloping that department to suit, you know, the new needs that we have. We have different people with different skill sets, and being able to move those spots around is helpful. So we'll be doing that. The Patriots Point road signage, we're in the next phase as that parking lot opens that we've been watching be built. The next phase of the signs, we knew we had to do it in different stages because of the different movements. But you'll see the Bud Darby sign is going to be redone in the right look, so it'll be nice and clean and look great. The new welcome sign, where that has the marquee letters where it says "Welcome to Patriots Point," we'll say "Welcome to Patriots Point, home of the Yorktown." We want to make sure we continue pushing that this is the Yorktown's home as Patriots Point. So that's a big thing that we talk about a lot when we talk about signage. Jocko's Chacos. Last year we launched the program. We will reach 10,000 cookies on July 4th. It will be a thing for sure. So 10,000 cookies. All of you guys have tried it, I believe. If you haven't, we'll be happy to get some more. But what a huge success, and the next step of that program will be, we'll always sell it in the gift shop, but we'll also be going with the foundation for them to use as a resource or something to give out in the community and kind of create that brand. Again, they're baked by Marine-owned bakery, the front porch in Mount Pleasant, over there by Wando High School. And
Cheshire. Yeah.
the partnership couldn't be better. We love Webb. Yep. And Diana, she's a spitball too.
Yeah.
Can't miss that. As far as visitor services, we launched a really neat program with our volunteers. All of our volunteers have had really impressive careers in their field, and you know, they help us, but they also have so much to give. And so we've launched a volunteer enrichment program. Gina's done a really good job getting that off the ground. Basically, the volunteers sign up for a spot, and they give unique information, something that can be fun to hear and you learn at the same time. And so the first one was Bill Casassa, one of our more engaged volunteers, did anti-submarine warfare sensors and used the USS Laffy to talk about that. Stoney Bates is on July 6th, and he's going to talk about Chester Nimitz and Douglas MacArthur. And then we have Bill DeTore, and he's going to talk about piracy on August 2nd. So this is a good way to get into something that will grow. So right now it's with our volunteers and staff that want to hear it, and we eventually hope to do it with our annual pass that will turn into a membership, and we can provide that and then go outside of our volunteers to a new network of people that can talk about all sorts of topics. The Veterans History Projects continue. We recently interviewed Paul Tillman. He's a new volunteer. Paul's father was a Yorktown 5 crew member, and he was a Yorktown 10 crew member. So the Yorktown that we're on, and his dad served on the 5. It's a very unique story there. Kay Clark is a retired Navy commander and was in the military when women were known as the Waves. She is next on the docket to be interviewed. And then also with the volunteer program, we installed an awning on the Laffey. So we have our volunteer of the year, Leonard Singleton, who spends hours and hours on the Laffey every day. His back of his car that he drives is all about destroyers. Very engaged volunteer, but that sun can be brutal this time of year when you sit under there. So we put an awning right by that gun mount 53 for them to sit under and provide much needed shade. On the other side of visitor services, on the ticketing side, we're working really hard to make sure the visitor experience is a good one. We sell a combo ticket with Spirit Line, so you can go to Fort Sumter and then come back here and visit Patriots Point or the other way around. But it's kind of cumbersome. Their ticketing sales system, and I venture to say, is much better than ours, and so it kind of creates little challenges when we do combo tickets. They have to buy from there and then redeem it for us. So we've created a whole new system up there. Once they buy a ticket, we can redeem them at Photogenics. We get the credit for the sale too. It's all helpful with accounting, but it's one less stop, one less person in our ticket line to make everything go much smoother. We've also changed our ticketing or our signage for prices. So little things can make a big difference when it comes to the ticket booth. And we're going on year 2 or 3 with having some of the options, some of the more the discounts and some of the guided tours where we didn't know how people would react. And so Gina's team really pays attention and to the questions they're getting both online and in person, and is always working to improve that experience. So we've got new signage up there that explains the prices and what you get, and the efficiency has gotten much more efficient and much better customer experience since we put up those new signs last month. And then a turnaround. Turnaround, if you don't know, is what we call the point of sale, the ticket booth on the pier. So as you leave Patriots Point's pier, you walk by the Laffey, and then you go to the Harbor Resort. We have a ticket office right there for the Harbor Resort and Marina visitors, and for the water taxi. This time of year, the water taxi runs constantly and brings literally boatloads of people to Patriots Point. But with our staffing situation, it's always the first one to pull. If somebody calls out sick in the main ticket booth, we pull the person in the turnaround because the main ticket booth is where thousands of people pass through. So we've developed a system with all hands on deck between different departments, whether it's operations, volunteers, or anybody that has a radio, if it falls that far, goes down and checks tickets and opens that gate. So when the water taxi comes at a certain period of time, we can open it, and there's no hesitation by any staff right there or a disruption in the visitor experience. I also want to mention that we're developing a program in staffing, kind of carrying on with that theme, with Goodwill. And so I've talked at length about the challenges we have to recruit hourly workers to work in public safety or in the ticket window. And so we developed a program with Goodwill to where they help seniors re-enter the workplace once they retire, and they have to meet certain requirements. They've already been vetted, they have strong resumes, and the program takes into effect the amount of money that they can make that doesn't mess up their benefits on the senior side of it. So they come in, Goodwill pays them a rate and to go through our training, and if we like them, we can hire them right away, or we can continue the program with Goodwill. But it's an immediate change and a much better improvement, a huge improvement over using the staffing companies out there, where you have to work 6 months and pay them a certain rate. They get half of what we pay the staffing companies. A lot of times you bring in 10 people and you might keep one of them. It's just difficult. So we're really looking forward for this pilot program with Goodwill, and we're starting with the cashiers, and then maybe the next step will be public safety. But so many things going on with each one of those departments within the whole organization, but especially within that division. I'm happy to share them. So thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Good stuff. And also the real estate portion, the temporary parking lot looks like it's going to be finished mid-August, right, Terry?
Right.
So that's about a couple of months ahead of time, or several weeks ahead of time. So we're continuing to move. Pat?
Will we have transportation from there to the ship?
That's been the plan all along, is to have some, the carts, of course. right? So,
That's correct. There is
So-
a cart pickup, a
Yeah.
golf cart pickup right at the corner closest to our current staff lot.
and it's something we've talked about, you know, having to increase, probably gonna have to increase some of that.
I was just curious, I didn't see anything in the budget where it was set, we're gonna have to have larger carts.
Probably,
Lot of
probably gonna have some, yeah, for sure. And we've always talked about doing some shuttling up there. And we've got that line item in the budget, for the property development. Yeah, okay. Any other questions about the development meeting? Facilities, operations, Darwin?
Finance too, right?
And big finance too.
Okay, I'll start with finance and then cover operations. So the good news is we're doing very well financially. Our cash on hand at the end of May was $14,440,000, which is an increase of $2,307,000 since the start of our fiscal year. Our operating revenue increased at $572,000 during the month of May. So we're really headed in the right direction. A couple other things. This year, we have had expenses of $1,600,000 for the Clamabore recycling. We paid $200,000 legal settlement, and we've contributed $858,000 for payment to the Laffey loan. As far as the Laffey is concerned, 6 more payments to go, and we owe $6.5 million. Taking a look at all the operations, everything from paid attendance, camping, revenue, gift shop, lease, parking, etc. During this same period, we have had an increase of over $1 million in revenue just for those categories. Operationally, we are dealing with a couple of leaks in the hull of the ship. The course of action and the cost is yet to be determined, but we're in the process of working through that. Mr. Chairman, that completes my report.
Thank you, Darwin. Any questions of Darwin? Hearing none, I think you will go into the executive director's report now.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to start off by recognizing our education staff for the excellent job that they did with the Teachers Conference. We had a great group here, and they really, Keith and Hannah and Tammy and that team really put on a great Teachers Conference, rave reviews all around. So hats off for another great Teachers Conference this year. I'd also like to thank all of the directors and the deputy directors for all of the work that they did in putting this budget together. It was a very collaborative process, and everybody worked very hard to really think through their budgets and be really intentional about their spending. And so we think it was a really great process, and I'm just very thankful for all the hard work that everybody put in. And then I would like to thank all of our staff, because the great job they do is what makes this budget even possible. They will be the ones, the staff will be the ones to see this through. So just so appreciative of all the work that all of our great people here at Patriots Point do. So on behalf of Patriots Point staff, I am pleased to present the proposed FY24 budget for your consideration. The board received a copy of the budget last week, and every department has presented their budgets in committee, and we've had a chance to talk about them in committee. But as I'd mentioned, because of the new organizational structure, this year's budget process was highly collaborative. Each division director worked closely with their directors on the departmental budgets, and then the division directors, the property manager, and myself worked as a team to create the agency budget. Through this process, I believe we have created a workable and calibrated plan to leverage our capital to achieve our goals in fiscal year 24. So the team that's behind me here is the team that worked on the agency budget. Chris and Mike and Nick and Terry did such a great job on this. So as Darwin said, we're entering fiscal year 24 in a strong financial position that we believe will continue into the upcoming year. All of our revenue streams are remaining consistent. We believe the visitors are continuing to come to the museum from all over the world in record numbers. Ticket sales make up 46% of our revenue projections for fiscal year 24. Educational programming is returning to full capacity post-pandemic. Strong sales continue in the gift shop and with vendors. And fiscal year 24 shows increased lease revenue, which will continue to grow as landside development gets underway. While we enter fiscal year 24 with good momentum and confidence, we know there will be challenges. We know there is economic uncertainty that we're all facing. We will be working with the Office of Resilience, the SCORE office, on our remediation plan. We know our aging vessels will need repairs and maintenance, and we know that we must begin planning for the construction of new Patriots Point facilities, much as Pat mentioned. This budget will ensure that we are prepared. The executive summary goes into more depth, but I'd like to speak to the larger expenditures in the budget. Our largest expenditure every year is for staffing, which is over half the proposed budget. Costs are up 9% over the amount budgeted last year due to state-mandated increases and necessary adjustments to attract and retain qualified staff. Staffing is a priority for our leadership team, and we are eager to support our wonderful staff with these initiatives. The second largest expenditure in this year's budget is contractual services. Each department has listed in the budget the contracted service that each department utilizes, and all of those are pretty much consistent from last year. The increase in this year's proposed budget is largely due to our new contract with the Department of Administration Shared Services for HR services. The contracted amount is actually less expensive than the cost of having in-house HR staff, and we will continue to evaluate opportunities to streamline and save with outsourcing. The other large expenditure is the annual debt service on the USS Laffey loan, which comprises 8.2% of the organization's projected annual revenue. We have a few major one-time expenditures that are also included in this budget. This includes a new website, technology upgrades, and planning and design costs for new landside facilities. Some of the costs that are going to arise this year for landside facilities for Patriots Point will include contracting with an architecture firm to begin the planning and design for our new building. We will be looking at transportation needs that we'll have from the new parking arrangements. We have some site design elements that we'll be addressing with the existing staff parking lot that will remain in place until the new construction begins on the new building, and then beginning the planning process for the shift for the Vietnam experience, the laydown yard, and the golf cart charging shed. So that number is included in the budget for major expenditures this year, and that is the beginning of what will continue to be a process for us year after year with our landside commitments. We've also budgeted for a museum facility master plan. This is a year-long planning process that will have agency-wide involvement and will create new design concepts for our tour routes, address visitor flow, create museum-wide interpretive and design standards, and address thematic elements. Our departmental budgets reflect lean discretionary spending, but include funding to continue the aircraft restoration project, Operation Restoration, that we are doing in conjunction with the Yorktown Foundation. Support for joint educational programming and infrastructure updates to the Congressional Medal of Honor Society project, new security initiatives, and upgraded systems and platforms agency-wide, as Susan mentioned earlier. Finally, we are proposing an ambitious and exciting new project for FY24 with the relocated, expanded, and upgraded Flight Academy. This will be a one-of-a-kind, state-of-the-art facility that will support our educational and overnight programs, as well as revenue-generating leadership programming. We will be bringing a full presentation to the board about the details of the project at the next board meeting, as Susan's mentioned. For the Flight Academy project, we will utilize grant support from the Education Improvement Act, the EIA, and we will also look to the Yorktown Foundation for corporate sponsorship. This past fiscal year, the foundation funded just under $300,000 for projects and programs at Patriots Point, and this is money that did not need to come out of the Patriots Point budget. We will continue to work closely with the foundation to grow their support for Patriots Point. A strong philanthropic program eases the revenue burden for Patriots Point. The proposed revenue and spending plan provides a calibrated balance between maintaining a significant cash reserve for necessary capital expenditures and a financial safety net, while continuing to provide a high-quality visitor experience and positioning the agency as a competitive employer. With this approach, Patriots Point will be prepared to meet any circumstances in the coming years and continue to successfully serve the mission set forth by the great state of South Carolina. Just want to end this before I take questions to thank all of you on the board for your time and your support that you give to Patriots Point. It's a big job that you have, and we are very grateful for the work you do to support the staff here and lead the agency. So with that, any questions for any of us?
Any questions?
Have you had fun yet, Allison?
That's a good question.
Yes.
And that you did a great job.
Yes.
Thank
She was
you,
close a
thank
few
you.
weeks ago, but that's quickly.
Could you repeat that again?
Okay, so questions, I think things were certainly covered in depth in committee meetings over the past, yesterday and this morning. But if there are no other questions, is there a motion to approve the budget as
So
presented?
moved.
And
I'll second.
moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the budget as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Good job.
Thank you so much. We're excited.
Any public comments? Seeing none, the chair will entertain a motion to move into executive session for purpose of discussing contractual, legal, and personnel items pertaining to Patriots Point.
So moved.
Pat moved.
Second.
Darwin seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. We'll go into the second. We'll take about a 5-minute break.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
I-
open session. No votes were taken in executive session. Under other business, as y'all know, we have, due to the option we have with the Medal of Honor, Leadership and Education Center Foundation, we're allowed 2 board members for that organization, and one of those to serve in on their executive committee, or whatever the term of that committee is, the name of it. Susan obviously is already on the board and one of those members, and I would like to propose that I would like to put James on there as our member on the board and as the executive committee. I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
So moved.
Is there any discussion? If not, congratulations, James.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks, members. I appreciate it. I'll do my best for us and look forward to always fun working together. So, thanks.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
It's a really exciting time. It's
Yeah.
all finally starting to move, I think.
Yeah, I think things are getting pretty exciting. If there's no other business to come before the board, we stand adjourned. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank y'all.
Mr. Chairman.
Allison, this is great.
That's Katie. You're welcome. Katie put
Thank
that
you so
together.
much.
We wanted to capture everybody. All right, does anybody want to go see
I do.
collections?
Sure.
And if we don't do it today, we can always go another day.
I would love to. Yeah, I think so. I'm sure, Pat.
Hey, are you going?
Yeah, but I was to the bathroom.
Next time, we can always
Pat, TMI.
Thank you.
All right, thank
very
you.
much.
Appreciate it.
I really appreciate it. Susan, thanks again.
Oh, thank you.
Very much.
Thanks, you.
Good to see you. No, I understand. That sounds like fun. Where's she, Cam?
Go in here.
Ken,